For more on this groundbreaking study, our colleague Rochelle Akufo spoke with Dr. David Howard, a research fellow at the University of Edinburgh Center for Clinical Brain Sciences. She began by asking him how much closer this new research brings us to understanding the roots of depression.
Over the last couple of years, we've had a number of studies come out from around the world that have really helped to gain a further understanding of depression. The recent studies that have come out have shown that depression is certainly a heritable condition, meaning that you inherit part of the risk from your parents, and it's through the genes that you inherit from those parents that give you that risk.
So if someone can be diagnosed as at risk because of their DNA, what would that mean in terms of how preventative care is structured?
Well, absolutely. We can use the genetic information we can gather to try and understand the biological pathways that are impacted by depression. And if we can understand those pathways, potentially that gives us more options for treatment. So not only just pharmaceutical treatments, but potentially it might reveal people may be better suited to going down more psychiatric routes. So maybe cognitive behavior therapy. And, we might find additional avenues that are not just pharmaceutical.
And were there any surprises that you saw in this study?
It was great to see the impact that the results were able to deliver, because until 2016 we really weren't making much progress with depression, and it's only been in the last few years where we've had studies that have had over 100,000 people in that we've really started to be able to get a better understanding of what's happening in terms of the genetics of depression.
Pharmaceutical companies have largely withdrawn from some of this expensive research into this next generation of antidepressants. Why are they pushing back from that?
We haven't had a new antidepressant developed for a good 10 or 20 years. I guess the reason is because it's been very hard to treat. Depression is a very complex disease, so it's a whole range of genes that do impact our chances of the onset of depression. There's also lots of environmental factors as well that could influence the chance of somebody developing it. I guess it's just money. That's what pharmaceutical companies are interested in. But actually using the recent studies that have come out, it might actually reveal the genes and the pathways that represent real good targets. And that will give greater confidence to doctors and GPs to really go out and prescribe the right medication to the right person. And I think that is going to give the pharmaceutical companies more confidence in researching depression and drugs that will treat it.
And to give our viewers some context, depression is actually the leading cause of disability worldwide, costing the global economy as much as $1 trillion annually. So what is being done at the moment to address this?
Well, there's huge amounts of research being done, not only in the genetic aspects of depression, but also the other factors. So, other diseases, you'll find people who have maybe cardiovascular type diseases, they seem to be at higher risk of developing depression. And it also seems to be the other way around. So people with depression also have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. So there's huge amounts of research being done, not just on my field, which is psychiatric genetics, but across loads of different fields, all trying to understand what are the key components to the onset of depression.
What would you like to see done to help address this issue more effectively?
I think the next stage in terms of what we're doing is to try and stratify depression. So we know there's, people sometimes have recurrent depression, so they get regular episodes of depression. Some people will just get depression once in their lifetime. So it's really trying to understand the genetic components of these different subtypes of depression, and that will give us potentially a better sense of what biologically is causing these episodes, and I think that's potentially a really good avenue for going forwards, certainly.
And so for the average person who's at home wondering what this might mean for them, what would you like them to take away from this study?
Well, we know depression is heritable, and it's influenced by a lot of different genes. So it's not just one big gene that causes depression. So potentially, there's down the line, as we understand the impact of the genes further, there will hopefully be pharmaceutical treatments that could become available. But don't stop doing the things that will help naturally. So going out for walks, going to speak to friends, but go and speak to your GP as well, your doctor, and just find out what options are available to you.